hour. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has celebrated a sweeping re-election win, promising a disciplined, orderly government focused on economic stability, tax reform and climate action. The 62-year-old Labour leader visited old haunts in Sydney, including a local cafe and brewery, as supporters applauded his historic victory. Partial results show his Labour Party securing at least 83 of the 150 parliamentary seats, with the opposition Liberal National Coalition trailing far behind. Opposition leader Peter Dutton has conceded defeat and even lost his own seat, a rare and stinging blow. Albanese pledged to continue tackling Australia's high costs of living, invest in healthcare, cut taxes and address housing shortages. Analysts said global instability and the impact of US trade tariffs nudged voters towards steady leadership. The win drew global praise, with leaders from the US, China and neighbouring Pacific nations sending congratulations. Albanese reaffirmed support for Ukraine and plans to boost Australia's presence in Indo-Pacific diplomacy. As the dust settles, he says the focus now is working hard every single day. Jitharth Jay Bhardwaj, editor-in-chief of the Australia Today, is joining us live from Melbourne. Thank you, Jitharth, for speaking with us. What do we make of this, first big address by the Australian Prime Minister, who, of course, has won a historic second term? What is to be read into his priorities as he's outlined in this speech?
See, we must understand that Prime Minister Albanese was under a lot of pressure in terms of how he has projected his cost of living crisis solutions, energy crisis. Of course, the climate change is an issue in Australia, and the solutions which he has put forward, renewables, they were not very popular. The Liberal Party, the opposition, was presenting nuclear options, which seemingly Prime Minister is very happy that they have been rejected by the Australian people. Same way, there is one more important aspect of that, which is indigenous people to be recognized in Australia. And a Liberal Party made a big issue out of it, and Prime Minister was almost in tears in his speech yesterday, victory speech, when he said that we are very proud of our indigenous heritage, and we'll be kind of saying it out loudly that we are proud of Australia and we'll be respecting the First Nations all over country in every aspect, be it sports, social or cultural aspects. We'll be respecting that. So Prime Minister has set a tone that this election victory is all about Australian people. He has dedicated it, and he has also said that whether you have voted for Labour Party or not, this government, his second term will be for everyone. And saying it in his victory speech is something which probably is very important when it comes from a Prime Minister. That must be understood in that tone itself.
Right. Jitharth, also, as far as, of course, this victory is concerned, it's something that hasn't been seen in Australia for over 2 decades, a Prime Minister repeating a term. What are the factors that you believe led to this great showing for Anthony Albanese in these elections? At one point, a few months ago, many had written him off, but, he came back and he's won pretty decisively. What are the factors that led to this victory?
He came back with a thundering majority. I mean, I haven't seen 88 seats to any government in last, before John Howard actually got something like this, but after him, nobody got it. When you say that no Prime Minister has been repeated, then I want to tell you the governments have been repeated. Like in 2017, 7 and 11, Labour government was repeated, but the churning of Prime Ministers was there from Kevin Rudd to Julia Gillard to Julia Gillard to Kevin Rudd. Same happened with Liberal government. They were there for 3 terms. However, they had 3 different Prime Ministers for all 3 terms. So saying that no Prime Minister has been repeated is with a caution that yes, parties have changed their Prime Minister very often. Now, when we come to Albanese, then probably one thing is very clear, that Liberal Party, the opposition's house, was very fragmented and divided. Anthony Albanese has done one fantastic thing for his party is that he has got a very strong core group with him, uh, be it in terms of economic management, be it in terms of foreign management, be it in terms of domestic issues which pertain Australian people in day-to-day life. He got a very good team and he's able to deliver that message to people. So, and Liberal Party is probably a part-time politician party. So that is the primary difference between Labour Party and Liberal Party, that Labour Party people or leaders are career politicians, and that's what is happening them when time comes to connect with people and need for votes. They are fantastic in terms of delivering their message to people and accepting where they're wrong and saying that we will correct it. And this is what Prime Minister Albanese has done this time, that I'm listening and I'm here to do everything to make your life easy. That's the message probably he want to deliver to Australian people.
All right, let me, and we'll quickly, of course, put out those seats count as well. You were just referring to them, the kind of, historic showing for Anthony Albanese's party. We'll be putting that on our screen, of course, showing how well, of course, Albanese's party has done. And, of course, Peter Dutton, unfortunately, not a good showing for him at all, as you can see there on your screens. And his party, the Conservatives, of course, Peter Dutton, remember, lost his own seat as well. In these polls. So there you can see, of course, a stark contrast in the seat share between both the parties in Australia. All right, Jitarth, the final question to you before we conclude. How is this going to now affect international relations? Where do you see Australia's relations with Donald Trump headed? Because that was also a big issue in this election. And also, as far as we in India are concerned, how should we be viewing our partnership with the Australians going ahead under Albanese's leadership?
See, when you ask, let me answer the second question first. Second part, relationship between India and Australia is growing exponentially, and previous government of Liberal Party was very supportive, but what we have seen in last 3 years is unprecedented support in terms of Indian business. Australian companies are very eager, Australian universities are very eager to do business in India, not only with India, in India. So that difference is there. And I think special emphasis is there every time when we have heard Prime Minister Albanese, be it Foreign Minister, be it Education Minister, be it Treasurer. These 4 important pillars of this government has always talked about Indian Australians and relationship with India. So this trajectory is upward, and there is no stopping in this. I must tell you that Labour Party, Prime Minister Albanese's party, has maximum number of multicultural representation. There are 2 senators of Indian origin, Sri Lankan origin. So they have a multitude of representatives so that this government can be inclusive. Let's go away to Donald Trump now. So the relationship between Albanese and Donald Trump in last couple of months has not been as smooth as we talk about India. However, the new leadership, new mandate will give him much more confidence in dealing with Trump. And Trump administration was also waiting for this elections to be done with, so that there is a prime minister who has a fresh mandate for next three and years, so that they can deal with it. I suppose very important person there in Washington, D.C. is ex-Prime Minister of Australia, Kevin Rudd, who is the ambassador of Australia in United States. So it will be a tricky ride for Prime Minister Albanese to deal with Trump. Let's see. We hope best for Australia. He probably will get some